Greetings. We're going to do a WOD, WOD number 1, FileIO-CountLines. I'm going to drink a little coffee first to kind of prepare my brain for this athletic activity. Okay, now we're going to start the timer. See how long it takes. Now we're going to look, it's WOD 1 FileIO-CountLines. So we're going to download this page onto my local computer. So I'm going to save link as webpage.html. Okay, so there it is right there, over here. And the next thing I do is make a project called FileIO-CountLines over here. I'm going to say new Java project FileIO-CountLines. CountLines. Okay, that all looks good, so I'll say finish. And then the next thing is to enable check style for this project. So I'm going to go to project properties, check style, click check style active for this project. Okay, yes, needs to be rebuilt. Okay, now write a program that reads in webpage.html and determines how many lines are in the right side integer system out. So that's cool. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to create a package called wod.fileio-countlines, all lowercase. I'm going to create the package info.java. And I'm going to say implements wod1 FileIO-CountLines. Look at this miscellaneousness, and first sentence should begin with a period. Okay, so I have I got a check style error. First sentence should end with a period, so I just fixed that. Okay, now I've got to create a class, so I'll create it in this package, and I'm going to call this class FileIO-CountLines. I'm going to want the main, because that's what we use. That all looks good. Okay, so now we've got this, and we're noticing down here we got some check style errors, check style problem. So I've got to make some Java docs. So implements wod1 FileIO-CountLines. I don't like the author thing too much. Save this out to get rid of that one. And then I've got this main. This is where I'll actually document what I do. So reads in webpage.html, counts the lines of code, writes out the total. Args, we're not going to actually use the args right now. Okay, cool. So we've got rid of all of our check style errors for now. So let's just make a little outline, of what this thing's going to look like. So read in webpage.html. Then we're going to count the number of lines, and then we're going to write out the total. Okay, how do we do that? Well, fortunately, I gave you this little hint to look at this tutorial. And there's some useful stuff in here, like this paths class. So we can say path, webpage path equals paths.get /users Johnson desktop, right? That's where that is. Webpage.html. Okay, and then I'm getting an error on path cannot be resolved to a type, but this is one of these quick fix things. So I click on that, and it tells me I can import this. That gets rid of it. Now we have this problem, which is that we don't use it. Of course we don't use it because we haven't got to writing that line of code yet, so we won't worry about that particular warning. Now we got to count the number of lines. So when you read a little further in this, you get to this page, talks about all these things, and there's this one thing, read all lines. That looks really good, actually. Because if we can read all the lines, we can get this list of string, and then we just get the size of that, and like we're good. So let's say that we'll say list string line strings equals, and then we have to say files dot read all lines. Here we could actually just complete this. Okay, where path is going to be our web page path, and CS is going to be a char set. So the char set. See how this auto completion is like really useful, by the way, for like figuring out what you can do. So I'm going to use this one because I know that I want to have, I use UTF-8. Okay. Alright, so that looks pretty good, except for the fact that list needs to be imported. We always want the util version of list, not the AWT. Okay, and so we still got something, unhandled exception type, IO exception. Right, because this thing is going to throw an error. And we could just do this quick fix. Throws IO exception. And we'll throw that IO exception if problems reading the file. Okay. Line strings, we're back to this thing. We haven't used it, so that it's playing a warning. So let's use it. Doggone it. And what do we have to do? Just write out print line strings dot size. Okay, so there it is. We've got no errors. It appears to do everything we want it to do. So let's run, see what happens. And what happens is we get 1128. Okay, that's pretty good. The only thing we have to now check to see is, was that actually the right answer? And so we can do that pretty easy. We'll just say new open file, open up webpage.html, scroll to the bottom, and then Eclipse tells us that is in fact line 1128. So looks like we completed the first WOD. We did it in about 7.5 minutes. So there you go.